In taking a short respite from my daily routine, I am, in some oblique sense, also joining yet other previous excursionists to Yarmouth. For instance, wanting to give their employees a break from their labours, on Friday, June the 11th, 1897, Bass, Ratcliff and Gretton Limited, then the largest brewery in the world, organised a free trip to the seaside. Their entire workforce came to Yarmouth. Foremen and their crew, men from the grain department, blacksmiths, cloggers, excavators, plate layers, tailors, wheelwrights, wire workers, clerks, coopers, stable hands, friends, wives and children, no babies allowed, boarded a series of 17 trains at assigned stations and at assigned times, so they could enjoy a day out. The first train left at 5:20 a.m. The last return departed at 10 in the evening, reaching home at 2:20 a.m. A 26-page booklet distributed to each employee contains strict instructions about departure times, the number of the train to which the individual is allotted, and how many are permitted to sit in each railway carriage. Throughout, stern directions, always capitalized and in bold print, instruct the excursionists to be prompt and to behave. May I not see or hear anything of any objectionable character from any of our people throughout the day. Moreover, there are firm edicts not to throw empty bottles, etc., out of the train window, as well as repeated reminders concerning the necessity of traveling both ways on the same train, no changing to other trains and disrupting the orderly arrangements. A warning threatens. Serious notice will be taken of any breach of this urgent regulation. The booklet also lists arranged activities and places to get food or find a lavatory and cloakroom. Amusements include especially arranged concerts under the awnings of the large Yarmouth Aquarium given by the Dragon Guards, the Burton-on-Trent Volunteer Band, and the Moore and Burgess Minstrels from London, indoors if it is raining. And, much to my interest, the booklet also offers reassurance to those remaining at home that upon the appearance of the last train to Yarmouth, a telegram announcing the safe arrival of all be sent to Messrs. Bass and Company and posted on the company's gates for people to see. This announcement reminds me of the pervasive fear of train accidents during the Victorian period, and particularly of Dickens's own experience when on June 9th, 1865, his train from Folkestone to London derailed and left his first-class carriage dangling precariously off a bridge. These outings to Yarmouth, no doubt, once offered a welcome respite from the long hours at the brewery, but the manifold and often austere regulations surrounding the trip's arrangements must have dampened or restricted some sense of gay abandon or spontaneity. A labourer was still under the company's management and the supervision of a foreman. Indeed, a foreman was assigned to each carriage in which his men were seated. In this respect, of course, the contrast between my own trip to Yarmouth and the brewery workers' supervised, pre-planned, down to the minute, day excursion is considerable. Thinking of this, my current solitary state becomes all the more enviable. Even though there might be lonely intervals, I am free to take the train I want, choose my own destination, and following some random impulse, walk unmanaged along the seashore. As John Masefield put it, I can listen to the running tide's wild call and unrestricted join the vagrant gypsy life. For the moment, enjoying the privilege of being alone, I continue my wanderings by the North Sea. Moving along the broad, deserted beach, I pass the closed public toilets and unpeopled benches to reach what was once the celebrated Britannia Pier stretching out to sea. At its opening in 1858, 2 rockets and several cannons announced the mayor's arrival. But no such festivity attends it now. Like the donkey ride stand I had passed earlier, this too is forsaken. I notice a shut-up karaoke disco, a desolate gift shop, a closed Long John Silver's snack bar, a palmist gone for the season, and at the pier's end, a once splendid grand theatre displaying tattered posters of expired variety shows. At the pier's front, the only entertainment open is an amusement palace, fun for all the family. Resembling the mouth of hell featured in medieval mystery plays, its dark, gaping entrance hungrily waits to swallow those who approach. The repetitive mechanical sounds of its slot and pinball machines lure its victims in. But even this distraction seems vacant. I see nobody. In April 1914, a daring militant wing of the suffragist movement, the Women's Social and Political Union, had targeted the Britannia Pier as part of its campaign to gain an equal voice. Camouflaged by the night sky, Eveline Hilda Burkitt, the first protester to be force-fed, and Florence Olivia Tunks set off a bomb that left the pier's magnificent pavilion in a tangled heap of smouldering metal. Though, according to a contemporary newspaper account, faulty wiring could have been the cause. The morning after, suffragist pamphlets fluttered among the theatre's twisted, ghostly remains. Newspaper photographs show how extensive the damage was. True to the fluctuations of circumstance, however, just a few years after this event, the pavilion sprang back to life, and over 2 million visitors once more strolled along the pier's wooden promenade or danced the night away. But inevitably, after the disruption of World War II, its welfare and popularity again declined. More recently, bankruptcy, decay, and 2 major fires in 2003 have reduced this landmark to a mere spectre of its previous self. To get a sense of its former brilliance, one must now resort to gazing at a colourful mechanical model of it in the great Yarmouth Museum. Press a button, and Britannia, triumphantly raising her trident, swirls in circles before what, for the moment, is no more. I move on, and soon catch sight of another casualty when I approach what years before had been the glorious and celebrated Winter Gardens. Left to perish, this expansive structure, entirely constructed of glass and steel, was once remarkable, the last of its kind in Britain. Originally built in 1878, it had formerly been splendid to behold, the closest one could come to seeing the 1851 Crystal Palace before it burned down. Designed by John Watson and William Harvey, the Winter Gardens had originally offered an all-round pleasure dome for seaside visitors in Torquay, Devon. But after 3 years, this venture failed. Hard to believe, but in 1901, Great Yarmouth bought the structure for £1,300 and arranged for the building to be dismantled piece by piece, pane by pane, and moved on barges around the coast to Norfolk. Miraculously, as the story goes, no glass was broken. Eventually, it was reassembled in Great Yarmouth, and from 1904 until 2008, functioned as a year-round and all-weather attraction. During most of that period, in all seasons, this shimmering wonder was alive and ebullient. At its height, over 2,000 people a day gathered inside. Palm trees and exotic plants from the extent of empire surrounded a generous ballroom, a roller skating rink, an Austrian-style beer garden, a performance stage, and cafes. Photographs from the early 1960s, just before the most severe decline of the British seaside, showing a roller skating competition, a substantial audience listening to a Salvation Army band, as well as couples dancing to a live orchestra, attest to its once sparkling popularity. Now, supportive scaffolding surrounding metal fences and overgrown weeds circumscribe its damaged structure. Disturbed by the barrenness of the present, I find myself wishing to leave where I am and enter one of these archival pictures so that I might pull up a chair and join the tightly packed rows of working-class men and women enjoying a day's coach tour outing, who are raising their cups of tea for the camera while precariously balancing their handbags on their laps. I long to be among their company. While looking at the photograph, and in particular, focusing on the front line of ladies holding their teacups, a disturbing detail attending Yarmouth's celebration of Queen Victoria's coronation pops into my mind. To honor the new queen, the town's authorities apparently organized entertainments for the humbler classes, all adapted to their tastes and habits. Among these was a contest in which, quote, 6 old women competed against each other to see how many cups of scalding hot water they could gulp down during a set period of time. Incredible. According to an article in an 1838 edition of the local newspaper, the onlookers laughed more uproariously. The blatant insensitivities that can accompany a class-conscious society are disturbing. Setting these thoughts aside, I continue to gaze at what remains of the Winter Gardens. All is quiet, derelict, and vandalized. Cracks and smashed holes in the glass, boarded up spaces, and rusted, crumbling remnants of its frame declare the structure's imminent ruin. The lights that had once illuminated the Winter Gardens and reflected in the neighbouring sea are no more. But as I am to find out, not all is lost. What had been done for the Venetian waterways is perhaps going to be accomplished here. In 2019, the Great Yarmouth Preservation Trust undertook urgent repairs to stop the building from falling down. More recently, in July 2021, the National Heritage Lottery Fund awarded the city a grant of £10 million to restore it. If all goes well, the rejuvenated Winter Gardens are scheduled to reopen in 2026 as a heritage arts and education venue. Much of this effort is due to the city's bid to become England's City of Culture, an honour that would bring funding to restore what was once a vital area. Discouraged by what I have seen, I leave the beach and the promenade to step onto what is locally known as the Golden Mile. But the evidence of a declining, tarnished, and vulnerable seaside continues. There's no relief. Where is the gold, and where are the people? This street with its extra-wide pavement runs parallel to the sea and exhibits one vacant, garish entertainment centre after another. For a mile or more, a person can fall prey to such temptations as sweet sensations offering cotton candy, rock, fudge, and multifarious sweets, fish and chip shops as well as donut stands, pubs, cafes, and a pleasure beach with its entertainments, a leftover from the early 1900s when it was first built. I walk past abandoned adventure golf courses, a miniature village, one of the highlights of the Bass Brewery excursion, bouncy castles, and a bowling alley open at all season, and pause before the Golden Nugget with its flashing slots and the Silver Slipper with its glittering, dizzying rides for children. In the stillness of this November day, little moves unless nudged by the sea breezes. Out of sight, under floorboards and between pieces of machinery coated in blown sand, spiders weave their webs. A few straggling individuals walk into a leisure land. The clings and clangs of its slot machines reverberate and deflect the sound of the sea. Inside, the flashing lights of games promising a prize every time momentarily illuminate the darkness. Gaudy storefronts and displays hide the older fronts of buildings. Obscuring what was once the desirable bathhouse hotel is a bingo palace, the Flamingo. In swirling lines, its name drifts among metallic flamingos illuminated by flashing pink, yellow, and baby blue light bulbs. Around the corner, I find myself facing an imposing, long, and stylish building that rises incongruously among the depressing spectacle of tawdriness. It is the Palladium, the home of the Hippodrome Circus, one of two remaining dedicated circus buildings in Britain. Built in 1903, it flaunts none of the sparkle of what surrounds it. Rather, its distinctive Art Nouveau design and terracotta relief offer a sobering and more tasteful corrective. Shut up tightly for the season, its opaque walls sequester memories of a ringmaster's voice addressing ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, when introducing jugglers from Italy, acrobats from Romania, and daring aerialists from Finland. The animal acts have long gone, but the cages that once held dancing bears and trained lions remain at the back of the building. Silenced are the oohs and ahs of enthusiastic applause, the loud rhythmic music, and the ringmaster's comical promptings for the audience to join in songs. And invisible are the water spectacles featuring acrobatic, synchronized swimming. The building is one of only 3 in the world in which the circus floor sinks to form a swimming pool. Around the corner, on the Marine Parade, I pass by yet another grand structure. The Empire, once a cinema built in 1911, rises incongruously silent and austere above the nearby garish bingo halls. I try to enter, but am blocked by locked, splintering doors and smudged glass that grudgingly offers a view of a run-down hallway. Like Yarmouth itself, this venue has suffered through multiple alterations and economic fluctuations. Closed as a cinema in the 1960s, the Empire relied on bingo to keep itself going. In 2008, the place was mothballed and shuttered. Later, it was eventually renovated and reopened as a bar with live music. The present nightclub, however, only uses part of the building.